Hello and welcome to today's video. Coming to you from Hamilton. Got another lovely autumn day and just sitting out in nature to bring this to you. In the background you can see a tree sprouting out. That's a eucalyptus tree. It's very significant in the spiritual world. It's representative of things such as cleansing, purification, healing. It's also representative or symbolic of the connection between the heaven, the earth and the underworld. Beyond that, you can see that I'm wearing certain colours today, which will tie into the topic. So I've got an indigo coloured shirt on, which is going to be representative of the third eye, which is today's topic. And my buff is purple, violet colour, which is representative of the crown chakra. And as you can see, with the tree sprouting out effectively from my crown chakra, that there is symbolic of the tree of life. So again, I'm surrounded by really strong symbology at the moment in respect of what I'm going to talk about. I've pulled out a card from my chakra tarot deck, and I'll just show that to you on screen first. And that card there is the Hierophant. And if you have a look at just towards the top of the card, there is a third eye right at the top, and also it's dominated by the colour indigo. And I'll just read out from the guidance as to what it represents in the tarot deck. The fool seeks spiritual knowledge. He is there when the fool arrives, standing under the all-seeing eye. She carries a wand the colour of indigo, which vibrates at the frequency of all past and future visions. But is she ready for this knowledge? The Hierophant connects the fool to the sixth sense of her sixth chakra. This is a window into her psychic ability. His teachings of intuitive trust will carry her forward in uncertain times. In this sixth chakra, he must teach her to see darkness and light, and she will draw on these mystical lessons in the days ahead. So what we have there is kind of a real short summation of what the third eye represents in the spiritual world. It's insight, and it is intuition. It's closely related to psychic abilities, clairvoyance, and I wanted to talk about the third eye today, representative of how it's manifested in my life, and I will give some short versions of what's happened for me. Again, I've expanded all these in my written story, my life story, which is on my webpage, so you can go and have a look there if it so calls you. The webpage is viviandolamahianz.com, and these videos also mention various parts of that story, so they're always available on my Facebook or indeed on my Instagram. So just getting into the third eye for me, and I have briefly touched on this on a prior video. 2023, when I was deeply getting into this journey, as I call it, and I'd made a conscious decision at that stage to really develop things further. And I made a decision that I was going to concentrate on my third eye, and in the first instance I did that through a lot of meditation. And what I actually found happened through these meditations, and a lot of them were guided for opening of the third eye, so we talk about the opening, sort of in technical terms perhaps the third eye for humanity is generally closed. Some people say it's calcified over because it's closely related to the pineal gland, which is a gland that sits between your forehead and your brain. And if you can cleanse that calcification and open your third eye, you're then more likely to be able to experience these things that I talked about in the spiritual world, about this intuition, this insight. And I hope to just give you some ideas of how that's worked for me. So 2023, I definitely did a lot of meditation, and they were guided, and I found that what was actually happening was that I was seeing, instead of darkness, I was seeing an indigo blue light, indigo blue, yes, purpley blue colour in my forehead. And that really said to me at that stage that I'd at least activated things, because I'd never seen that before, and very happy that I'd got to that stage. And then life was kind of going pretty well as well. Everything was sort of falling into place. And then came October of that year, and I was going to include this story into this video anyway, but just this morning a few things happened that just are beyond coincidence. It was a little bit foggy this morning, or misty, and I took a few selfies up on a mound just with the lake in the background. And right at that time I was thinking about the person who I'm going to talk about in the first story. And she was the lady that I talked about a few videos ago who effectively saved my life in Tarifa in Spain. So if you wanted to sort of go back and have a look at a video that I called Staring Death in the Face, that's that whole story. But so I was thinking about her. I took these photos, went for a walk, and I came back, and there was a cafeteria next to the lake, and I've walked past that quite a number of times, but I was sort of called in to actually have some lunch there. So I sat on the balcony by the lake, just kind of planning in my mind what I was going to talk about, and she was definitely on my mind again. So finished lunch and was just going off to get my camera and my stand. And as I walked out to an exit that I hadn't come in, and it was the main indoor seating area for the cafeteria. And on the walls around me were posters, framed posters behind glass, and they were the covers of the books Tintin, which was I think written around about the 1930s, of an intrepid young English explorer and his dog Snowy, who went on all these amazing adventures around the world. Now the tie-in there is that this lady that I'm going to talk to you about, her nickname from her friends given her intrepid journey around the world was Tintin. So she's been with me all morning, and then she showed herself up right there, and now I'm just going to relate a little story which I'll tie into the third eye. So I met her, but I met her on a site where people used a nom de plume, so we didn't actually use our first names. So when I met her online and started chatting to her, it was kind of unlikely that I was ever going to sort of see her. But as the conversation went on, became clear that there was probably a calling to do so, and she had the same calling. And the next morning I drove 1.5 to 2 hours from where I was, sort of out of my way to meet her. And we spent a wonderful afternoon together and just chatting about everything. And as I talk about, she has had a great influence on my life. I write about her extensively. And there was this strong knowing from both of us that we were destined to meet, and probably had met before and will meet again. So apart from all the adventures that we subsequently had, on that particular day we just kept chatting and spending time together. And then she had a van which she was travelling around New Zealand in, and we decided to go park up for the evening. And at that stage we still had not actually swapped names, so you know, things had just gone so deep that we just didn't even think about it. Anyway, we were sitting late at night in my motorhome, and all of a sudden a name came to my head. And I asked her, I said to her, "Oh, I don't know your name, but can you tell me what your name is?" And she told me her name. And her name was Rosemary. And the name that had come to my head was Rose. And even as I think about that right at the moment, I have this amazing spiritual feeling over me that could have popped up. So looking back, that is intuition. That is tuning into the universe. I have no doubt about that. Anyway, so there's an example of a happening in my life that I can really strongly relate to this third eye, opening to everything, opening to all of the mysteries and the magic of the spiritual world. So I'm talking real experienced magic here. I talk about this a lot. The gnosis, the actually experiencing it. Reading about it is one thing, or hearing about it from others is one thing, but it's when one experiences these things that one knows deep down in their being that these things are real. Whether other people believe it's real or not is fine. It's up to everybody, but I am now convinced. And what has further convinced me, I'll give you some more just examples in my life. In 2024, I travelled overseas and came back in around about late February. And I'd actually contracted what's known as respiratory virus overseas, and it's a little bit like COVID, I think. And I had a lot of brain fog because of it. That was on the travels, but I'd got a bit better. But I came back and I was thinking about this brain fog, and I was also thinking about developing the third eye even further. And I remembered from about at least 20 years ago that I'd actually tried a product from overseas, from America, called Ethereum Gold, which is a monoatomic mineral, which at the time had quite an impact on me. It is said to, in the spiritual realm, decalcify the pineal gland. And I do recall at the time having a lot clearer thoughts on life, lucid dreaming. But again, those were sort of like this whole one-off stuff that I talk about. I didn't live it fully, so that sort of lapsed. But anyway, I was sitting atop what's known as Mount Maunganui in the Bay of Plenty area of New Zealand. And so I'm up high, which again, that's interesting that I was. And I thought, I might like to try that again, just for this whole third eye development. I went online, but couldn't find it being available. But the next product down interested me on my feed. And it was a product called Limitless, and it was made by a company called Kiss the Earth. And I read about it, and it was a mixture of lion's mane, which is a mushroom which is known for its properties for the brain, focusing of the brain, just clarity. And the other product was blue lotus, which I'd never heard about. It's a water lily, and it said that it was very good for the decalcification of the third eye, so exactly what I was looking for. So I thought, well, okay, I'll have a look at that, and I read the reviews, and they were just amazing reviews, and it was a fairly new company. I read further, and I went to the contact details thinking that I was travelling and how would I get hold of this. And it had a mobile number, which coincidentally was a New Zealand mobile number, so I rang that. And I asked them if it was available in stores, and they said no. And I thought, okay, well, I'm going to have to get it sent somewhere because I'm travelling on the road. And then I asked them, where are you? And they said they were based in Mount Maunganui, 10 minutes down the road. So here's more synchronicity. I went and picked up the product, started using it straight away, and within days, so many changes. And I write about this in my book, but just focus of mind, clarity of colours. It was almost like I was seeing things in 180 degrees rather than tunnel vision. Very lucid dreaming. The Egyptians used blue lotus for the same third eye, sort of stimulation, I suppose. The Eye of Horus, that's in the Egyptian drawings, the all-seeing eye. I won't go much more detail into that because I do just want to get onto this last example of perhaps when the third eye has kicked in for me. So I then went to Peru. I went on my amazing spiritual retreat, ayahuasca, sapo. I've explained those in prior videos. Just absolutely incredible experiences of insight into the universe, seeing the universe, understanding the universe to the level that I have. I got back to Lima and I decided to go down to the city. So I was staying in one of the nicer suburbs called Barranco. And I got a taxi, and the traffic, as always, was pretty heavy, and they don't drive particularly fast in the city because of the heavy traffic, but it's kind of chaos. Haven't really seen any traffic like that before. And it was sort of like just getting into the drive down, about 20-minute drive. I think, it's sort of 5 or 10 minutes into the drive, and I'm sitting in the back seat, and all of a sudden I had this awareness, just like not anxiety, but just awakenedness. I was sort of just like, oh, something's just being aware of everything around me. And then a word popped into my mind, and the word was accident. So I was in a heightened state of awareness right at that moment. And then within 30 seconds of this happening, my taxi driver drove into the back of a car in front of him. So, okay, these are small examples for me, experiences, real experiences. You can read much more about sort of my journey, as I say, on my website if you choose to do so. It's a fairly large story. I can see from everything that I've experienced that when people talk about being connected to the spiritual world and being connected through the third eye, and a lot of religions and a lot of ancient civilizations and a lot of current people in the spiritual world concentrate on the third eye. To me, it's a real thing. And once you see what you see, you can't unsee it. So that's why I'm positively carrying on my journey, bringing light. I hope that's brought you some light, maybe some inspiration that, you know, if you haven't experienced it before, maybe to think that might be something to experience. It's fairly wondrous once you see the magic. As always, I'll make some more videos. I say thank you for listening. Obviously, enjoy the journey. We will meet when we should, and namaste.